The ocean swallowed me like I was nothing, like I was trash being thrown away. The salt water burned my throat, my lungs, everything. I tried to scream, but water rushed into my mouth instead of air. Above me, through the black waves, I could see the yacht. Its white lights were getting smaller and smaller, disappearing into the night. And standing at the railing, watching me drown, was Devin. Devin Thomas. The man I had given 3 years of my life to. The man I thought I would marry. The man I trusted with every secret, every dream, every fear I ever had. He wasn't moving. He wasn't diving in to save me. He was just standing there in his blue button-down shirt, his hands in his pockets, watching me die. "Devin," I screamed, choking on salt water. "Please, help me!" But he didn't move. He didn't even blink. And then, God help me, I saw his face clearly in the moonlight. He wasn't crying. He wasn't panicking. He was calm, cold, like he had planned this, like throwing me off a yacht was just another item on his to-do list. Then he turned around and walked back inside the cabin. Just like that. Like I was nothing. Like the past 3 years meant nothing. My yellow dress was dragging me down. The fabric was so heavy, pulling me under like hands grabbing at my legs. I kicked hard, trying to keep my head above water, but my muscles were screaming. My lungs were burning. I thought about my mother, Laura. Sweet, quiet Laura who worked 2 jobs to raise me. Laura who taught me to be kind, to be humble, to be grateful for the small things. What would she do when I didn't come home? Would Devin tell her I jumped? Would he pretend to be heartbroken at my funeral? No. No, I couldn't die like this. Not without knowing why. Not without understanding how the man who said he loved me could do this. I ripped at the zipper of my dress. My fingers were numb, shaking, but I got it down. I kicked off my heels and let them sink into the darkness below. The dress came off and suddenly I could move again. I could fight. But the yacht was gone now. I was alone in the middle of the ocean, in the dark, with nothing but water for miles. As I floated there, trying to conserve energy, trying not to panic, one question burned in my mind hotter than the salt burning my eyes. Why? Why would Devin want me dead? I didn't know then that the answer had everything to do with $500 million. Money I didn't even know existed. Money that came from a mother I thought I knew. A mother who wasn't just Laura, the quiet woman who worked at a diner and lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. A mother who was actually one of the richest women in the world. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tell you what happened next, I need to know something. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments below. And if you want to find out how I survived, how I discovered the truth, and how I made the people who tried to kill me pay, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Because trust me, this story gets darker before it gets light. My name is Samantha Pellets, and up until 3 weeks ago, I thought I was the most ordinary person in the world. I grew up in a quiet neighborhood in Portland, not the fancy part with the big houses and the coffee shops that charge $8 for a latte. I'm talking about the part where you hear sirens at night, where your neighbors argue loud enough that you learn all their business, where you buy groceries at the corner store because you don't have a car to get to the real supermarket. I lived with my mother, Laura, in a small apartment above a laundromat. It was just the 2 of us. Always had been. My mother worked as a waitress at a diner during the day and cleaned offices at night. I never heard her complain, not once. She would come home at midnight smelling like pine sol and grease and still ask me about my day, still help me with my homework, still tuck me in like I was her whole world. We didn't have money. We didn't have fancy clothes or vacations or any of the things other kids had, but we had each other, and my mother always told me that was enough. "Samantha," she would say, brushing my hair before bed, "real wealth isn't about money. It's about being kind. It's about having a good heart. That's the only thing that matters." I believed her. Nothing glamorous, nothing special, just honest work. I helped neighbors carry groceries. I volunteered at the community center on weekends. I saved my money and lived within my means because that's what Laura taught me. I was ordinary, invisible, unremarkable, and I liked it that way. Then I met Devin Thomas. It was at a networking mixer my boss dragged me to. One of those awful corporate events with cheap wine and forced conversations. I was standing near the exit, counting down minutes until I could leave, when this man walked up. Tall, confident, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere else," he said, grinning. I laughed. "That obvious? I'm the same. These things are torture." He extended his hand. Devin Thomas. Samantha Pellets. His handshake was firm. His eyes were blue, startlingly blue, and they locked onto mine like I was the only person in the room. We talked for 2 hours. About everything. About nothing. He told me he worked in finance, that he was building his career, that he wanted success but also meaning. He asked about my work, my dreams, my childhood. He actually listened. Not the fake listening people do at networking events, real listening. When the mixer ended, he asked for my number. Our first date was coffee, then dinner, then weekend hikes and movie nights and long drives with no destination. Devin was different from anyone I'd ever known. He was ambitious, fiercely ambitious, but he seemed to admire my simplicity. He said most women he met only cared about status and designer labels. "You're authentic, Samantha," he told me one night, holding my face in his hands. "You're real. That's so rare." I fell hard, fast, completely. 4 months in, I brought him home to meet Laura. She made her famous pot roast, the one she only cooked for special occasions. Devin arrived with flowers and that million-watt smile, charming her immediately. "Mrs. Pellets, this is incredible," he said, taking a second helping. "Samantha didn't tell me you were such an amazing cook." Laura smiled, but I caught something in her eyes, something guarded. After dinner, Devin excused himself to take a call. Laura pulled me into the kitchen, her voice low. "He's handsome," she said carefully. "But—" "No but, baby. Just be observant. Make sure he loves you for you." "Mama, what does that even mean?" She dried her hands on a towel, choosing her words slowly. Some men fall in love with the idea of a woman, the package, the potential, not the actual person underneath. Devin's not like that. "I hope you're right." She kissed my forehead. "I just want you protected." I hugged her tight, breathing in her familiar scent of lavender soap and coffee. "I am protected. By you. By him. I'm fine, Mama." But her warning planted a seed I tried hard to ignore. Month 8, things started shifting. Devin began following Instagram accounts I'd never seen before. Luxury watch collectors, private jet companies, men in suits standing in front of Lamborghinis. He'd scroll through feeds during dinner, barely touching his food. "Dev, you okay?" He looked up, distracted. "Yeah, just thinking." "About what?" "About how some people have everything and others have nothing. Doesn't that seem unfair to you?" I shrugged. "Life isn't fair, but we have enough, right?" His jaw tightened. "Enough isn't the same as what we deserve." The comment felt off, but I let it slide. Then came the remarks about homeless people we'd passed downtown. "They should just get jobs," he muttered one day. "Devin, it's not that simple." "Isn't it? Everyone has choices. Some people choose comfort over ambition." I stared at him. "That's harsh." "It's realistic, Samantha. Wake up. The world rewards those who hustle, not those who make excuses." This wasn't the man who ate tacos on curbs with me. This was someone else wearing his face. By month 10, the comparison started. We'd be out somewhere, a restaurant, a bar, a party, and Devin would point out women, subtly at first. "See her? She's a lawyer, pulls in 6 figures easy. That's great for her. Don't you ever want that? That level of success?" "I'm happy with my job." He'd go quiet then, this disappointed silence that felt like judgment. Another time, we attended his co-worker's engagement party. The bride-to-be wore a diamond the size of a marble. Devin couldn't stop staring. "That's what real commitment looks like," he said on the drive home. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just some men know how to provide." My stomach nodded. "Are you saying you can't provide?" "I'm saying I'm working on it, but it would help if my girlfriend had higher standards." The word stung like a slap. "Higher standards? Devin, I don't care about diamonds or designer bags or any of that. I care about you." "Maybe that's the problem." We drove the rest of the way in silence. Month 14 brought our first real fight. We were at brunch, his idea, and when the check came, I reached for my wallet out of habit. Devin's hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. "Don't." "I'm just splitting it." I said don't. His voice was steel. "It's humiliating, Samantha. Letting my girlfriend pay makes me look broke." "Nobody's watching us." "Everyone's watching, that's the point. Image matters." I pulled my hand back, stung. "Since when do you care what strangers think?" "Since I realized perception is reality in this world." He threw cash on the table. Too much cash, like he was proving something. "You wouldn't understand. You're content being small." "Small? You work a mediocre job. You live in a mediocre apartment. You have mediocre dreams. And you're fine with it." Tears burned my eyes. "I thought you loved me for who I am." His expression softened slightly, like he realized he'd gone too far. "I do. I just want more for us. For you. Is that so wrong?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. Because part of me wondered if he was right. If I was settling. If being content was the same as giving up. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was that Devin had started digging. Late nights when he said he was working, he was actually researching my background, Laura's background, our family history. He hired someone, a private investigator named Marcus Chen who specialized in financial forensics. "I need everything on Laura Pellets," Devin had told him over the phone. "Bank accounts, property records, business connections, everything." "What's this about?" Marcus asked. "Just a hunch. My girlfriend's mother lives like she's poor, but something doesn't add up. She works too hard for too little. People don't do that unless they're hiding something. Or they're just hardworking. Nobody's that selfless. Find the money." Marcus took the job. 2 weeks later, he called Devin back. "You're not going to believe what I found. Laura Pellets wasn't just a waitress. She was Laura Pellets Morrison. Morrison as in Morrison Industries. Morrison as in the tech conglomerate that owned half the patents in renewable energy. Morrison as in billions with a B. She'd founded the company 30 years ago under her maiden name, built it from nothing, sold it at its peak, then disappeared from public life entirely. The money was hidden in shell corporations, offshore accounts, trusts designed to be invisible. And all of it, every single cent, was set to transfer to one person on her 30th birthday. Samantha Pellets. Devin stared at the documents spread across his desk, his heart pounding so loud he could hear it in his ears. $500 million. His girlfriend, his simple, humble, ordinary girlfriend, was going to inherit $500 million in 3 years. And she had no idea. I was at Devin's apartment cooking dinner when his phone rang. He looked at the screen and his whole body went rigid. "I need to take this. Now? Dinner's almost ready." "Now?" He stepped onto the balcony, sliding the door shut behind him. I watched through the glass as he paced, one hand gripping his hair, his mouth moving rapidly. He looked angry. No, not angry. Desperate. He caught me watching and turned his back. 5 minutes later, he came inside, his face carefully blank. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Fine, just work stuff." But when he looked at me, something had changed. His eyes weren't looking at Samantha anymore. They were looking at dollar signs. Devin sat in his apartment at 2 a.m., laptop screen casting blue light across his face. Empty coffee cups littered the desk. His eyes were bloodshot, but he couldn't stop reading. The documents Marcus sent were explosive. Laura Pellets wasn't just connected to Morrison Industries. She was Morrison Industries. The founder, the visionary. The woman who revolutionized renewable energy storage in the late 90s and sold her patents for amounts that made his head spin. He clicked through scanned articles from tech journals dated 2001. Laura Morrison Pellet sells patent portfolio for $2.3 billion. Tech mogul disappears from public eye after historic sale. Where is Laura Morrison, the billionaire who vanished? There were photos. Younger Laura in business suits, accepting awards, shaking hands with presidents and CEOs. Her eyes were the same, kind, careful, but everything else was different. Confidence, power, authority. This wasn't the tired waitress who served pancakes at Morrison's diner. This was a woman who built an empire and then buried it. Devin's hands trembled as he opened the trust documents Marcus had obtained through less than legal channels. Beneficiary, Samantha Marie Pellets. Distribution date, April 15, 2027, beneficiary's 30th birthday. Total assets, $487,000. His vision blurred. He read the number again, and again, $487 million. Going to Samantha. His Samantha, who clipped coupons and bought clearance groceries and wore the same 3 dresses on rotation. She was going to be richer than most celebrities. Richer than people who spent their entire lives clawing for wealth. And she had no clue. Devin closed the laptop and poured himself whiskey with shaking hands. He needed to think, needed to process. His phone buzzed. Another creditor. He silenced it. The truth was, Devin Thomas was drowning. Student loans, $180,000. Credit cards, $67,000. Personal loan from his father that came with daily disappointed phone calls, $50,000. The investment he made in his friend's startup that collapsed, $100,000. Total debt, just under $400,000. He made decent money in finance, but not enough. Never enough. The interest alone was crushing him. Every month he sank deeper, playing shell games with minimum payments and balance transfers. He'd been looking for a way out for 2 years, and now, sitting in front of him in digital documents, was the solution to every problem he'd ever had. Samantha. If they got married before her 30th birthday, that money became community property. He could pay everything off, start fresh, live the life he'd always deserved. But there was a catch. He scrolled back through the trust documents, his heart sinking as he read the clause buried in Section 14. In the event of marriage prior to distribution date, the trustee reserves the right to delay distribution pending investigation of spousal intent. Any evidence of coercion, deception, or financial exploitation will result in immediate revocation and redirection of assets to designated charities. Laura had protected her daughter even from beyond the grave, or in this case from behind a diner counter. If Devin married Samantha now, Laura would know. She'd investigate him. She'd discover his debt, his motives, his desperation. The money would vanish. He needed another approach. Devin didn't sleep that night or the next. He kept telling himself he wouldn't do it, couldn't do it. He wasn't a murderer. He was just a guy in debt trying to survive. But then he'd see Samantha at work, laughing with her coworkers, completely oblivious to the fortune hidden in her future. Completely oblivious to how easy her life was about to become while his crumbled. It wasn't fair. He'd worked hard, studied, networked, done everything right, and he was still drowning. She'd done nothing special, just existed, just been born to the right mother. The resentment grew like poison in his chest. By day 5, he called Julian back. I'm in, but I need a plan, something that looks accidental. Julian's smile was audible through the phone. Leave that to me. Just get her on a boat. Alone. At night. The ocean does the rest. I had no idea any of this was happening. To me, Devin was just acting stressed about work. Distant. Distracted. When he invited me on the yacht trip for my birthday, I thought he was finally relaxing. Finally making an effort. Wear something beautiful, he'd said, kissing my forehead. I want to celebrate you properly. I found the yellow dress at a boutique I normally wouldn't enter. Too expensive, too fancy. But the saleswoman convinced me. You look like sunshine, she'd gushed. I bought it with my credit card, ignoring the guilt about the price. Devin wanted me to dress up. I wanted to make him happy, to fix whatever was broken between us. Laura called me the night before the trip. "Baby, can you come by the diner tomorrow, before you leave?" "Mama, I have to pack and—" "Please, it's important." Something in her voice made my stomach tighten. "Is everything okay?" "Just come by, I need to tell you something." "Can't you tell me now?" "Not over the phone, tomorrow, promise me." "I promise." But tomorrow came with a dozen small emergencies. My car wouldn't start. I had to Uber to work. My boss needed reports finished before I left. Devin called 3 times asking if I was ready. By the time I remembered Laura's request, it was 6 p.m. and the yacht was leaving at 7. I texted her, "So sorry, Mama. Emergency at work. I'll come by when I get back. Love you." She responded immediately, "Call me when you can, please. I love you, baby. Be careful." I didn't call. I wish I had. Devin stood on the yacht deck, watching Samantha walk down the dock in her yellow dress, the setting sun making her glow. She was smiling, waving, so trusting, so naive. His phone buzzed. A text from Julian. "Remember, make it quick, make it clean. 2 million wired the moment it's confirmed." Devin's jaw clenched. He thought about his debt, his failing life, his last chance at salvation. He thought about Samantha's inheritance. Money she didn't earn. Money she didn't even know about. Money that could save him. As she boarded the yacht and wrapped her arms around him, kissing his cheek, whispering, "Thank you for this." Something inside him went cold and final. He smiled back, held her close, and whispered to himself so quietly she couldn't hear, "She'll never know what hit her." The yacht was more beautiful than anything I'd ever seen. White leather couches, polished wood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows reflecting the sunset in shades of pink and gold. A table set for 2 with candles already lit, wine glasses waiting. "Devin, this is incredible," I breathed, spinning in my yellow dress. "How did you afford—" "Don't worry about that." He handed me champagne, his smile tight. "Tonight is about you." We clinked glasses. I took a sip, the bubbles tickling my nose. Devin barely touched his. The yacht pulled away from the dock, the engine humming beneath our feet. Portland's skyline grew smaller. The Columbia River stretched endlessly ahead, darkening as the sun dipped lower. I reached for Devin's hand. "Thank you for this. I know things have been tense between us lately, but maybe this is exactly what we needed. Time alone. Time to reconnect." He looked at our intertwined fingers like they belonged to strangers. "Yeah, reconnect." Something in his tone made my stomach drop, but I pushed it away. Not tonight. Tonight was supposed to be perfect. Dinner was salmon and asparagus, prepared by a chef who disappeared below deck afterward. We ate in near silence. Every time I tried starting conversation, Devin gave one-word answers. "The food is amazing." "Yeah." "The view is beautiful." "Hmm?" "Devin, what's wrong?" "Nothing." But his leg bounced under the table. His eyes kept darting to his phone. His jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. After dinner, he stood abruptly. "Let's go on deck." The wind hit me immediately, whipping my dress around my legs. The sky had gone from pink to deep purple. We were far from shore now. So far, the lights were just distant pinpricks. Devin stood at the railing, staring at the water. I came up beside him, wrapping my arms around myself against the cold. "Dev, talk to me, please. What's going on?" He didn't look at me. "How well do you know your mother, Samantha?" The question caught me off guard. What kind of question is that? She raised me. I know her better than anyone. "Do you?" Now he turned, and his expression was something I'd never seen before. Hard. Empty. "Do you know what she did before you were born? Where her money came from?" "She doesn't have money. She works at a diner." She worked at a diner, past tense, as a disguise. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through something. "Your mother is Laura Morrison Pellets, founder of Morrison Industries. She sold her company for over $2 billion and has been hiding it from you your entire life. I laughed. Actually laughed. That's insane. My mother barely makes rent. Your mother owns properties in 7 countries. She has offshore accounts worth hundreds of millions. And she set up a trust fund for you. He shoved the phone in my face. Look. I saw documents, numbers, my name, my birthday. $487,000. My knees went weak. This isn't real. This is fake. Where did you get this? I hired someone to investigate. Took them 2 weeks to crack through all her shell companies and hidden identities. His voice was rising now, sharp with anger. You're inheriting $500 million in 3 years, Samantha, and you had no idea. Because it's not real. I shoved the phone back at him. My mother would have told me. Would she? The woman who lied to you every single day? Who worked minimum wage jobs while sitting on a fortune? He grabbed my shoulders. She made a fool of you, made a fool of both of us. Tears burned my eyes. Even if this were true, why do you care? Why are you angry? His laugh was bitter. Why do I care? Because I've been drowning in debt while you walked around playing poor girl with a secret billionaire mother. Because I could have... He stopped himself, breathing hard. Could have what? His hands tightened on my shoulders. Could have made better choices if I'd known what you were really worth. The words hit me like ice water. What I'm worth, I whispered. Devin, you're talking about me like I'm a transaction. Aren't you? His eyes were cold, dead. That's all anyone is, Samantha. A transaction. And you? You're about to become the most valuable transaction of my life. It happened so fast. One moment I was staring at him, trying to understand. The next his hands were shoving me backward, hard. My heel caught on the deck. My balance disappeared. The railing hit my lower back and then there was nothing but air. Devin! His face appeared above me, silhouetted against the darkening sky. He wasn't reaching for me, wasn't screaming for help. He was watching me fall. Then the ocean swallowed me whole. Cold. Knives of cold piercing every inch of skin. Salt water flooding my mouth, my nose, burning like acid. The yellow dress instantly became a net dragging me down, down, down into darkness. I kicked, thrashed. My lungs screamed for air, but I was underwater, sinking, the surface getting farther away with every second. No, 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 no. My fingers found the zipper, pulled. The fabric tore away and suddenly I could move. I kicked toward the faint light above, my muscles burning, vision spotting. I broke the surface, gasping, choking, crying. The yacht was already 50 feet away, its white lights moving steadily into the distance. Devin, please help me! But the yacht kept going. He left me to die. The waves were massive this far out. They lifted me up and slammed me down, filling my mouth with water every time I tried to breathe. My arms were lead weights. My legs were cramping. I thought about Laura, about never seeing her again, about dying without understanding why. The cold was seeping into my bones now. My movements were getting slower, weaker. I'm going to die out here. The thought was strangely calm. Then a light, distant, moving. I tried screaming but only managed a croak. I waved my arms, splashing, using the last of my strength. The light got closer. A fishing boat, old, rusted, beautiful. Rough hands grabbed my arms, hauling me up and over the side. I collapsed on the deck, water pouring from my mouth, my body convulsing. Easy, easy now. An elderly voice, gentle, a blanket wrapped around me. I got you, miss, you're safe. I looked up through blurred vision at an old black man with white hair and kind eyes. He was rubbing my arms, trying to warm me. My boyfriend, I choked out. Shh, don't talk. Save your strength. I'm Captain Elias Moore. I'm taking you to shore. You're gonna be okay. He pushed me, I whispered. He tried to kill me. Captain Moore's expression darkened, but he just nodded. Then you're one hell of a survivor. Hold on, miss. Hospital's 20 minutes away. The ER was chaos. Doctors, nurses, heated blankets. IV lines, questions I couldn't answer. Do you know what happened? Who should we call? Miss, can you hear me? I gave them Laura's number. Then I passed out. When I woke, she was there. But not my mother. Someone else wearing her face. I sat in a private hospital room with Detective Santos and 2 other officers. Laura stood beside me, her hand gripping mine like she'd never let go. He pushed me, I said clearly. Devin Thomas discovered I was inheriting money from my mother. He became obsessed with it. He got angry on the yacht, told me about the inheritance, and when I didn't believe him, he shoved me over the railing. Did he say anything before pushing you? He said I was a transaction, that I was worth more than I knew. My voice hardened. He tried to murder me for money I didn't even know existed. One of the officers was typing rapidly. Do you have any proof of his motive? Laura stepped forward. I have financial records showing Mr. Thomas hired a private investigator to research my background 2 months ago. I also have phone records showing multiple calls between Mr. Thomas and a man named Julian Crest in the weeks leading up to this incident. Detective Santos looked up sharply. Julian Crest? The real estate developer? Former business partner of mine, Laura said coldly, and someone who's wanted revenge for 25 years. Julian Crest exposed. Within hours, Laura's lawyers had uncovered everything. Bank transfers from Julian to Devin, emails discussing removing the obstacle, text messages about timing and methods. Julian had paid Devin $2 million, half up front, half upon confirmation of my death. But there was more. Julian Crest had been planning this for years, waiting for the perfect moment. When he discovered Laura had a daughter who would inherit everything, he saw his chance not just for revenge, but to contest the trust as a former partner who'd been illegally forced out. If I died before inheriting, Julian's lawyers would argue the trust was invalid due to Laura's original breach of partnership. The money would be frozen in legal battles for years, eventually settling in his favor. It wasn't just murder. It was a calculated financial conspiracy. 2 days after my rescue, I received a message from an unknown number. I know what my husband did. I have evidence that can help you. Meet me, please. Evelyn Crest. Laura wanted to refuse. It could be a trap. But I needed answers. Needed to understand the full picture. We met in a warehouse near the docks, neutral ground arranged by police who surrounded the building in unmarked cars. Evelyn Crest was elegant, 50s, with gray-streaked hair and eyes full of exhausted rage. She handed me a folder the moment I arrived. I've been married to Julian for 30 years, she said. I've watched him obsess over Laura Morrison, over the business he lost, over revenge. She opened the folder, revealing recordings, contracts, emails. He's been planning this since he discovered your existence 5 years ago. He approached multiple men to get close to you. Devin was just the one desperate enough to accept. My stomach turned. Multiple men? 3 before Devin. 1 wouldn't go through with it. 2 couldn't get close enough to you. Then Julian found Devin, drowning in debt, hungry for success, morally flexible. Her voice dripped with disgust. My husband paid him to seduce you, gain your trust, and eliminate you at the right time. Why are you telling us this? Laura asked. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. Because I'm tired. Tired of being married to a monster. Tired of watching him destroy lives for money. And because... She looked at me. You remind me of my daughter. She'd be your age now if she'd lived. The room went silent. I'm sorry, I whispered. Don't be. Just make sure Julian pays for what he's done. The plan was simple. Use Evelyn's recordings to get a confession. Lure both Devin and Julian to a meeting. Let them incriminate themselves. The warehouse was wired, police listening from every angle. Devin arrived first, looking gaunt, paranoid. He saw me and stopped dead. Samantha, you're alive. Disappointed? I stepped forward. Did Julian not pay you the second half yet? His face crumbled. I didn't want to do it. You have to believe me. I was drowning. The debt was crushing me, and then I found out about your money and I thought, He grabbed his hair. I thought I deserved it more. I thought it was unfair. So you tried to kill me? I panicked. Julian said it would be quick, that you wouldn't suffer, that I'd just disappear? My voice was ice. That my mother would grieve but eventually move on? That no one would connect you to my death? I'm sorry. He fell to his knees. God, Samantha, I'm so sorry. I loved you. I really did. But the money was always more important. The warehouse door opened again. Julian Crest walked in, immediately sensing something wrong. His eyes darted between me, Devin, and Evelyn standing in the shadows. What is this? This, Detective Santos said, stepping from behind a crate with 6 officers, is your arrest. Julian ran, actually tried to run like he could escape the police surrounding the building. They tackled him within seconds, his expensive suit tearing as they cuffed him. You have no proof, he screamed. This is harassment. My lawyers will... We have recordings, Detective Santos said calmly. Bank transfers, emails, text messages, and testimony from your wife, your hired killer, and the victim you tried to murder. Mr. Crest, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, wire fraud, and about 15 other charges my prosecutor is excited to explain. Devin was still on his knees, sobbing. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he kept saying. I just wanted the debt gone. I just wanted a normal life. I stood over him, feeling nothing. No love, no hate, just exhaustion. You had a normal life, Devin, with me. But it wasn't enough. I wasn't enough. Because you valued money over everything else. I turned away. I hope it was worth it. The trial took 6 months. Devin pleaded guilty to attempted murder in exchange for 20 years with possibility of parole. His lawyer argued coercion, desperation, mental instability. The judge wasn't sympathetic. You didn't just try to kill someone, Judge Morrison said at sentencing. You betrayed someone who loved you, who trusted you, who would have helped you if you'd asked. That betrayal is what makes this unforgivable. Julian Crest went to trial and lost spectacularly. 40 years without parole for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and a dozen financial crimes they uncovered during investigation. His empire collapsed. His accounts seized. Evelyn divorced him immediately and started a foundation for domestic abuse survivors. A month after sentencing, Laura called me to her real home, not the apartment above the laundromat, but a beautiful house overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. She showed me a recording she'd made years ago, meant to be played on my 30th birthday. I pressed play. Young Laura appeared on screen, maybe 35, sitting in an office. Samantha, baby, Video Laura said softly. If you're watching this, then you know the truth now. I'm not just your mama. I'm Laura Morrison Pellets, and I built an empire before you were born. I watched, tears already forming. I hid my wealth because I wanted you to grow rich in heart, not bank accounts. I wanted you to understand kindness, humility, generosity, things money can't buy. I wanted you to know your own strength before knowing your net worth. She leaned closer to the camera. The world will treat you differently now. People will want things from you. They'll pretend to love you for what you have instead of who you are. But baby, you'll know the difference. Because you grew up knowing real love, real struggle, real character. And that's worth more than any inheritance I could leave you. The recording ended. Laura and I held each other and cried. I forgive you, I whispered. I understand now. On my 27th birthday, the real one, I officially accepted the inheritance. $487 million transferred into accounts I didn't know how to manage. Laura's financial advisors helped me understand, but the number still felt surreal. I stood in Laura's real office, looking at documents, trying to process. What are you going to do with it? Laura asked gently. I thought about Devin, about Julian, about all the people who'd hurt others for money, about how wealth had nearly destroyed me. Then I thought about Captain Moore, who'd saved me expecting nothing. About Evelyn, who'd betrayed her husband to do the right thing. About my mother, who'd worked herself to exhaustion to teach me values. Then I thought about Captain Moore, who'd saved me expecting nothing. About Evelyn, who'd betrayed her husband to do the right thing. About my mother, who'd worked herself to exhaustion to teach me values. I'm going to build, I said finally, schools for underprivileged kids, shelters for domestic abuse survivors, medical clinics in underserved communities, scholarships, job training programs, everything I would have needed if things had gone differently. Laura smiled through tears. That's my girl. 6 months later, I stood at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the first Pellets Foundation Community Center in Southeast Portland, the neighborhood where I grew up. Local kids ran through halls that would offer free tutoring, meals, mentorship. Single mothers accessed job training and childcare. Families got medical care regardless of ability to pay. This was what wealth should do, not corrupt, not destroy, but build. A reporter asked me, "Do you regret anything about what happened?" I thought about Devin, about the yacht, about the ocean trying to kill me. I lost the man I loved, I said slowly. But I found the woman I was meant to become. When someone you love starts acting different around money, pay attention. Devin showed warning signs for months, the cruel comments about poor people, the obsession with luxury lifestyles, the way he made Samantha feel small. Those weren't just bad days. They were glimpses of his true character. Your gut knows before your heart accepts it. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling me what lesson hit you the hardest, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. More stories of survival, betrayal, revenge, and redemption coming every week. Don't miss them. Subscribe now.